Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Zach Miller after his win at the 2015 North Face 50 Mile Championships. Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you, Brian.
Did you feel awesome from start to finish?
Sort of. I felt good, but we ran so aggressive in the beginning that it was really painful the last 8 miles or so.
When you say we ran really fast, don't you mean you ran really fast and everybody else tried to keep up?
I guess it was kind of I kind of dug my own grave there, but a couple guys went with me when I went out hard. Brian Bach and a couple other guys went along, and it probably pushed me to go a little faster than I might have went if they'd have just stayed back. But that's racing, and so it was great that they went out with me. So.
And when did you finally pull into the lead by yourself? Any sort of separation?
Pretty much at the far point of the course, in the out and back section on the road. We got on the road and we got out to that aid station, and when we turned around and got back on the trail to go towards where we had come from, that section of trail started to climb a little bit. And when it started to climb a little, that's where I started to pull away. And then I started feeling really good. And I started to see all the other people coming the other way, and that got me really excited. And so I just kind of took off there, and that's where I slipped out of view.
And once you slipped out of view, it seemed like you put your head down and went even faster.
yeah, kind of. I kind of bombed it down to Stinson. I was feeling great, and I consider the uphills to be more of my strength. So I figured if I could break away going down, not all I need to do, but if I would climb strong out of Stinson, then I could potentially get a bit of a gap. So when we started the big climbs up to Stinson, I just tried to take advantage of that.
When I saw you coming into Cardiac at mile 30 the second time, it looked like you were running a 400-meter dash. And it seems like it always does, but what's going through your head when you're it looks like you're charging? It sounds like some easy, fast.
I get excited at aid stations and when there's fans, so I tend to pick it up a little bit. And you told me to run harder, so
I did, but I didn't think it was possible.
But no, I was feeling good at that point in the race. I liked the climbing today. There were points in the race where I was actually I need to climb. I want to go back to climbing. It's easier on my joints, and I like climbing. And the Dipsy Trail was awesome because there are so many stairs in it. And I train on the Manitou Incline, so I was right at home when I got on those stairs. I was just this is just like the incline, but in sections instead of all at once. So I was loving that part.
And the climbing must have felt easy because you weren't climbing with 3 feet of snow.
I've kind of, we're at 10, up at Bar Camp at over 10,000 feet. We've been snowed in for probably the last month or two. So every run is just a snow run. So that's been good for leg strength, I guess. So climbing without snow was a treat, and climbing at sea level as opposed to 10,000.
So all that resistance training was taken away.
It was like somebody took the shackles off and
put on helium balloons as well.
Yeah. So I could just kind of skip up everything.
Were the conditions pretty perfect out there?
Yeah, they were, especially for me. I think of myself as a cool weather runner.
Yeah. And
it was temperatures were just about perfect. It was overcast probably pretty much all day. The sunrise was still amazing. It stayed a bit overcast, and the trails were not necessarily completely dry. Some of the steps were a bit slick, and bridges maybe, but pretty ideal. So great conditions today.
Do you think you can run much faster than this here?
Well, I'm always trying to get stronger and fitter and faster. So I would hope that if I come back, I could run faster. But at the same time, what we did today was incredibly painful at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
starting like we did just set me up for a world of pain late in the race. And right now I need some time to forget that. But yeah, I'd have a go at a faster time.
Now those last 8 miles, like you probably know you have a decent lead at that point. Are you still going all out, or do you pull back a little bit?
I was running scared. Like Max King scares me, and when we did the little like lollipop out and back, he was not that far behind, and I just figured he was laying low back there and was going to try and reel me in. And like once I pulled away, the whole time I just envisioned Max back there trying to reel me in.
Yeah.
And just like, he's a great runner, and I was just so scared that he was back there gunning me down. But I mean, I started to get some indication from the fans and things that I was running pretty fast, so I thought maybe I had a pretty good cushion, but it was hard to tell. Nobody told me a time gap until, well, Gary Jellin yelled to me at one point that I was 16 minutes ahead of Rob Carr's time at one point on the course. And of course Gary would know that.
Probably said 16:20,
but he didn't tell me how far I was ahead of the next person. So I didn't hear any of that until I got to Muir Beach. Megan told me I was 5 minutes up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't think that was at Muir, that was like the previous checkpoint, because she was telling me, because I was the first one through. And then later I heard some times after that, but it was kind of hard for me to know how close they were, and I didn't know who it was until finally someone told me it was Debo. So yeah, I was running scared for a while.
So you live up at Bar Camp, but you don't just live up at Bar Camp, you work at Bar Camp. And I was talking to somebody today who I think knew the previous caretakers there, and said it's a ridiculously hard, time-consuming job.
It is. I mean, everybody, if we do our jobs right, when the hikers come up, our job looks like the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
They're like, all you do is sit here and sip coffee and talk to people and go out for runs. But like, no, there's so much more. Like, the summers are so busy. Like, basically in the summers, you know, we get up around 6 a.m. and we're pretty much busy until like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And you just eat dinner and go to bed, you know, because you're exhausted, like from cooking and cleaning and doing chores and chopping firewood and, you know, doing all this physical labor, and you're on your feet like all day.
So how do you fit in your training?
So like, I work with my sister and then 2 assistants, and they're very gracious in letting me go out the door for a few hours to do my training. But it's like, go out, do your training, come back, get back to work.
Yep.
So, you know, where my sister might take a break to hike or to read or to take a nap, I take a break to run.
Yeah.
So, and that's in the summer. Then in the fall and the winter, it does slow down. So right now, it is pretty.
Sweet.
I'm living the dream right now because we don't see nearly as many people. So I have a lot more time to do my training. I can be a little more flexible with it. But every now and then I'm up there by myself, and then it's like, wake up at 4 a.m. and run at 4 a.m. and serve breakfast at 7, or wait till everybody goes to bed and, you know, run really, you know, in the middle of the night, you know, with a headlamp on the mountain, with the mountain lights, you know.
Awesome.
So, but I find a way to make it work, and I love it. It's great.
So you work with your sister at Bar Camp, but your parents were here. Is this the first like big ultra your parents?
This was the first time my parents have ever seen me run an ultra.
Really?
They've seen me run mountain races or trail races
and cross country and track.
And track, but they've never seen an ultra. When I ran JFK, I didn't really know what I was doing, and they didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
They knew I was running 50 miles, but like, you know, they didn't know I was going to win the thing. So it was close to our house, but they didn't go, you know, which was fine. But yeah, so this was the first time they got to see me run an ultra.
Is that pretty cool having them here?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, it was great having them come out, and then being able to have a good performance was just like the icing on the cake. So I mean, there's a little bit of pressure there. I'm like, oh, like all these people came to see me. I was like, hey,
you're a posse almost.
Yeah, because it was my parents and then a couple friends from Pennsylvania. And so it was like, I gotta deliver here, but I mean, I don't have to.
No,
they're gonna.
Well, guess what?
Be happy either way.
You did. Nice work out there, Zach.
Thank you.
And a bonus question for you, Zach.
Oh, yes.
So you're scared of Max King. What else are you scared of?
Oh, what else am I scared of? I don't think I'm scared of too much.
Just Max King.
Maybe a little bit scared, Max King, and maybe a little bit scared of getting too cold on the mountain.
Yeah?
It gets really cold at bar camp, and some days when I go out training, like it gets a little scarily cold sometimes.
Like when you're in shorts and 3 feet of
yeah,
snow?
I'm almost always in shorts. But like there was this one day I went out for a run, and I thought I was gonna run for like 3 hours, and I came back after like an hour 45 minutes, and I'd only gone like 4 miles. It was so snowy and slow, and I came into the cabin like covered in snow, and I was like, I don't know if I've ever been that cold in my life.
Yeah.
And like there I don't know, it gets a little weird out there sometimes when it's really cold, and so I guess maybe a hint of fear there.
Okay.
But I'm learning how to handle it.
It looks like you're learning to handle your fear of Max King, too.
Yeah. I guess I think he'll still instill some fear in me.
Gotcha. Thank you.